So, as we know, Persona 3 Remake, in this case, Persona 3 Reload, now that we know the official title, had been rumored for fucking ever. Whispers of it, winks, reports. We had a leak at one point showcasing that Persona 3 Reload was a real thing that was happening. Right after the Summer's Game Fest, the Instagram account of all places, the Atlas Instagram account, accidentally posted both the trailer for Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactica. And of course, the internet does this thing and they're like, well, that's not supposed to be up. Snatched it and then, of course, spread across the internet like wildfire. And everyone knew that Persona 3 Reload was a thing. It was supposed to be announced at the Xbox Showcase, which was supposed to be like a big... And Atlas really carried it at that showcase. They were like what? Atlas had 3 things announced there. So, you know, it kind of took excitement out of the air, or at least like that initial surprise out of the air. Oh my God! Everyone pretend to be shocked. Pretend to be shocked! Oh my God, Persona 3 Remake, who could have seen this coming? I did. I predicted this like 2 months ago, that it would show up here, and I'm so glad this is the first time we're all seeing it. Now, I want to give the Persona 3 team, whether it be PR or whoever's handling this stuff, credit for being incredibly consistent and true to the new water motif that we're seeing from like the menus, just because the amount of leaks coming out of this game is absolutely hilarious. Very, very water. The fucking announcement trailer got leaked. Following that, some other gameplay got leaked from IGN. A bunch of other shit got leaked left and right. Wet and gushy, water all over the damn place. Okay, very leaky of you, Atlas. This is the most leaks I've ever seen from them ever. And it keeps like slipping up too. It's like right before the announcement, they accidentally keep fucking shit up. We're also not 100% sure if the person who accidentally posted prematurely on Instagram before the announcement got fired. We saw like PR listing floating around a few days after, and people had speculated that that person had gotten fired. We can't confirm that, but I wouldn't be surprised. How the trailers accidentally got prematurely released is, I believe, when it comes to like mass social media postings, normally folks managing these things schedule these for a certain day to be released. And I believe that they had scheduled it for Summer's Game Fest originally for all of their social media accounts. And then at some point it had changed to the Xbox Showcase. And I think the social media person forgot to change the schedule date for Instagram. It just slipped their mind. And so a few hours after Summer's Game Fest, it goes live, you know, because it was pre-scheduled, and then they don't catch it until it's too late. So it's not so much someone like going on Instagram after Summer's Game Fest and hitting publish, not realizing it hadn't been publicly announced yet. They accidentally scheduled it and forgot to change it, because Instagram is something you just fucking forget about sometimes. Obviously they changed it for like YouTube and Twitter and like all the major ones, but Instagram is just like, ah, damn it, it's fucking slips your mind. And on top of that, with the trailer finally being out at the Xbox Showcase, then we started getting public acknowledgement from Atlas, and then interviews and answering questions on what the fuck is this game going to be like? What is it going to contain? So, you know, Atlas has been in the business of re-releasing games with some kind of graphical or content enhancement, but, you know, we don't see a lot of remakes from them, a chance to kind of do a complete do-over and from scratch. And that's why the prospect of a Persona 3 remake was exciting for a lot of people. I know there's a lot of love in there for 1 and 2, but they even acknowledge it in an interview that why Persona 3? Because it was on the top of the surveys and fan demand, straight up. And I'm of the belief that they're going to be taking the money that they make from this remake and hopefully funnel it into future remake projects that are, you know, on the agenda. I think Persona 1 and 2 have an excellent chance of getting ported here in the next few years, if not remade. Similar to how they're doing the ports, is that they released Persona 4 Golden first on Steam, took the money from that, and then spent it to port the rest of the series onto various platforms. And now we have the majority of the Persona series on cross-platform, which is really nice. And I thought the trailer looked great. I think on a visual level, it's very much scratching that itch. It's very clean cut. Obviously, it's got a Persona 5 kind of sheen to it, glow up, but still very much in the Persona 3 style. The aesthetics are awesome. The menus look great. It looks like how you imagined it would look. My biggest concern when it came to the visuals of the game, I didn't want it to look too much like P5. The aesthetic overlay and transitions and everything that kind of gives, you know, P5 a visual flair is very reminiscent of like punk rock. And Persona 3 is a lot more slick, a lot more simple. And it's good to see that it's like, it has a modern glow up, but it still has the Persona 3 presentation. They're leaning in a little harder with like the dark blue and the water motif that we saw in the menu, which I thought was nice. It has a certain level of stylization, but it's not mimicking Persona 5. The voice cast has been completely changed, which I'm kind of fine with. I'm not someone who's particularly married to the original performances. The new cast, I haven't looked at it. I don't particularly care. I'm fine with it. It's like, cool, recast it. I'm sure they'll do great. Most Atlas localizations are pretty good anyway, so like I'm sure that the standard will be fine. All ranked up events are fully voiced. This is a large amount of voice work in the series, which is crazy. Persona series already has a high pay time, but if you listen to the voices throughout the game, I think you will be able to enjoy it to this fullest. And as someone who loves voice acting in these games, absolutely great. Love that. We've also gotten some more interviews. Apparently, it is completely cross-platform, confirmations of Xbox, but apparently it's also going to be on PlayStation, Steam, and allegedly Switch. So Atlas will be sharing new teasers of Persona 3 Reload every full moon. I assume there will be character art for Akihiko, Mitsuru, Fuka, and everybody else. We're going to be getting allegedly new Persona 3 Reload news. But with that, the information came out that both the female main character from Persona 3 Portable back in the day and the answer, the epilogue to Persona 3 FES on the PS2 was not going to be in Reload. And originally when this information came out, they had stated that they were going to be remaking the original Persona 3 experience. None of the content from P3P or FES was going to be in Reload. So then people were like, they didn't clarify and people kind of just like took it and ran with it. I was also slightly confused by this. The Persona 3. FES shouldn't technically count then, huh? It also adds a number of less obvious changes and additional content which can be found scattered throughout the original game story. This includes the ability to take Komura on walks. Okay, so the dog walking was in FES. The ability to view secret videos of the protagonist's dorm mates from the control room. The addition of a hard mode, the number of new quests to complete. It overhauls the shrine, allowing players to use it to alter various properties of Tartarus for their next visit, adds several new fusible personas, adds an extra scene involving a certain character, and adds new wearable costumes. It also makes some balancing adjustments in the gameplay. So yeah, FES has a bunch of shit that I'm guessing is going to be in this version, so it's like, so you're recreating FES. Right? Because originally the statement came off as like trying to go for a very purist approach to it, trying to just remake the original Persona 3. And the issue with Persona 3 is the fact that there's so many versions of it and each version has different content in it that there's no definitive version of Persona 3 with all the content in one game. And I was of the belief, and what I wanted from a remake above all else, was able to take the miscellaneous content from each version and bundle them up together in this remake to give you a full P3 experience across the board. So then they came out and actually clarified. So the scenario which were in the original, such as the main story and social links, are basically the same. There is no Persona 3 FES post-story content or P3P female protagonist. However, that doesn't mean there aren't any elements from those two titles, so you purposefully omitting them. Got it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just charge $30 for it later, Atlas. Whatever. Gotta get that bag. Implementing a female main character route is work, but it's not impossible. It would add on stuff. Same with the answer. It's like, yeah, it's extra work, but it would be very much appreciated. I mean, there's plenty of people who have played FES and never P3P and love Persona 3 all as much without the female protag being there. It just sucks that she's like right there. How they're going about it is not a matter of like, oh, they're trying to be pure to the original experience. They're just omitting stuff that would require the most extra work to put in. So it's not a matter of faithfulness. They're just choosing not to. And I'm like, wishing upon a fucking star that it gets DLC at some point. I hate that fact that I'm kind of begging for DLC at this point. I hate being in that position, but I'd like to have that content in the game. I think it'd be nice. Now, we still don't know what the case is with the female main character route of whether or not she's going to be DLC. I think that is very likely considering how DLC hungry Atlas is. They've also done shit like this before, where Nocturne HD, there was the original Nocturne that had Raito from Devil Summoner, and then Western version eventually had Dante from the Devil May Cry series. So when Nocturne got re-released a few years back, they had removed Dante and turned him into a $10 DLC and put Raito in his place, who was originally there, you know, to begin with. And Atlas also has a history of very expensive, elaborate DLC. Persona 5 Royal, assuming you paid base price out of pocket for all of the DLC, has like $100 worth of fucking DLC and cosmetics. So it is not beyond Atlas to chop off features and then sell that to you later. The answer, I know, is not everyone's cup of tea. The female MC I am devastated about, just because like people have been begging Atlas, and are definitely something that they've been begging Atlas, at least in the case of Persona 6. Please give us another playable main female character. And so here's an opportunity to reintroduce a classic Persona game to a new generation that has an established female character that a lot of people love. They could have easily added her and have it be a dream come true. We could have had it all to appease both the people who love the original character and also to draw in new people into Persona that maybe want to experience it from a female perspective. Maybe now we know why they fucking re-released Persona 3 Portable over FES on Steam, was to appease people, being like, all right, fine. We know we're not adding the female MC to Reload, so let's just give him P3P on PC so they stop bitching about it. And here I am bitching about it still. I just think it's a huge missed opportunity. I don't know what they were thinking. If it's money, you know, if it's the fact that like it's yet to be announced and it's DLC, but at least she's in it, right? And I pose the question to my gamers. I pose the question to you. You have a choice between $30 for cosmetics and like extra soundtracks or new outfits, or the female main character route. If you have to spend $30 on DLC, which one do you choose? Cosmetics or the female main character route? Because Atlas probably knows your answer. If you want to be guaranteed to sell an extra $30 off of this game, that's how you do it. It's a very, very pretty girly pop carrot. I don't doubt that it's going to be a good experience. I am disappointed in the missed opportunity to make a definitive Persona 3. I think a lot of people are in that boat. When we got the news about no, the answer, or female MC, a lot of people were really sad. And I was also sad. It kind of like took the excitement out of it a little bit. You know, this is like getting pancakes without syrup. I can eat it. Hell, it's a decent breakfast. It don't feel right though. I'm like, it's missing something. Now, people have also speculated that there is a chance that it may not be DLC that we're getting these things, and that eventually, in several years, they will re-release Persona 3 Reload as Persona 3 Reloaded Persona 3 the Third as like the enhanced edition, like Royal Light Golden, and that will have the female MC in it. So I don't know, and I don't know if they would go about re-releasing a remake of an older game. I will say it does sound like the devs have put a lot of love into the game, so I'm still quite excited for it. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be bad by any means. I think it's gonna be good. I'm just gonna have that feeling of longing in the back of my mind of what could have been the entire time, and that's like the thing I'm like, ugh. It's like, I don't want that. I want to have to think about it, but it's like a little splinter in my brain. If they're going to do DLC, they better announce it after release. Don't do pre-release, because that's really going to piss people off. At least make it seem like it's something you did after the fact, right? Don't make it like, oh, we shaved off part of it and you have to buy it. So there's also a bunch of things that they removed here. So let's get into some of these interviews. We got, hi, Igas. Hey. Hey, girly. She's looking around. I want to be by your side. How toasted do you want this bagel? This is a full remake of the original Persona 3, released in 2006 for the PS2. Elements such as the worldview, story, and characters are unchanged from the original version. However, the game will be remade taking into account modern design and functionality so that it can be enjoyed to the standards of the current Persona game. So putting it simply, this is a remake that aims to allow players to experience Persona 3 in a similar way to Persona 5. Persona 5 is a title that has become a standard for how the games play for current Persona fans. We know this from surveys and other sources, but also because Persona 5 is a title that has expanded the popularity of the Persona series worldwide for both domestic and overseas fans, which is true. I think the greatest success of Persona 5 is the gameplay changes and integrations. I think Persona 5 is fantastic on a gameplay level and easily created a new standard for the series that is impossible to go back on at this point. There are things that they're changing about Persona 3 to at least it make on a gameplay level more functional, less frustrating, less needless tedium in there. So they're staying true to Persona 3's like original design, and then there's fun. For the aspects that have been remade, what exactly has changed? Firstly, the easiest to understand part is the physical health system. It was part of what made the original P3 unique, but it was also removed in subsequent titles. The physical health system in Persona 3 was that occasionally the party members could just be sick. They could just not feel good. It's like, oh, if Junpei's feeling too depressed or under the weather, you know, he doesn't want to join for Tartarus. Not to mention, like, when you're climbing Tartarus, the characters could just get tired and fucking leave. The fatigue system is what people call it. So yes, the fatigue is gone. They ditched it, they cut it. I was curious if they were going to, and they did. It's honestly fine, in my opinion. I don't think anyone really liked it. I think it just added a set of like RNG randomness to things, but they took it out of the game for that reason, because having that health system in there that can throw off whether or not someone's available that day kind of fucks with your plan, so that's why they took it out. Maxing all social links on one playthrough is not as hard as it was in the original version. Thank fucking Christ. I don't think they mentioned it in this interview, but I wonder if they got rid of being able to reverse a social link. So in Persona 3, you can accidentally piss off your social links and then have your progress of the social link essentially be suspended. I accidentally did this with like Yukari in like one of my playthroughs. I accidentally like handled the situation wrong, and she's like, we're in a fight. And then I couldn't progress her social link without doing like a little fucking song and dance at the shrine. I don't know if they'll keep that in, and they might cut that so it prevents people from like accidentally locking themselves out of progress. Social links are one of the things that has changed from the original to the present. At the time, the game wasn't designed for you to complete all social links in one playthrough. Like in Persona 3, like talking to Mitsuru, you have to have like the courage of God and like the brains of Einstein to like even talk to her. But it sounds like she's a lot more manageable now, which is good. In addition, there are new scenarios which delve deeper into the world and characters in other ways. For example, there are no social links for the male party members in the original game. They weren't able to build as much of a relationship or interact as much as the main character. Since social links remain the same as the original, we can't give them new ones. However, we will prepare content which shows their character and their relationships with the main character in a different way. I can't talk about the specifics yet. However, I hope you look forward to it. So this is true. Like, you don't have a social link with Junpei or Akihiko as the male protagonists. You have male friends, like you have the weird boy Kenji and like, you know, your athlete buddies. You're having an opportunity to rebuild the game from scratch. You're adding shit anyway. You're changing shit anyway. Why not just go the extra mile and write something for them? Just add it. Okay, because it's like you're going about it trying to do a patch job, adding what I'm assuming is going to be like main story social events, bonding moment scenes where you build their relationship in those. I kind of understand because the balance of social links in time might get screwed with adding that many social. I mean, maybe, but it's like it's 2 social links for the most part. Yeah, maybe not for all the party members, you know, all the male party members, but at the very least, like Junpei seems like a go figure, you know, like just add his. I'm perplexed by the choices in this case. Why omit that? Why change this and not the other? And I understand they're trying to preserve the original experience, but they're not though, because they are changing stuff from the original experience. So it's like, come on. Didn't female MC have a social link with all of them? Yes, she did. So the female MC route, you can befriend them, the guys and date them. These characters technically have existing social links with the female MC. So it's like they have a story arc in their social link somewhere in another version, and they could have put that in. Obviously change shit, or at least say, hey, make a gay Atlas if you want to be really fucking bold. Add them and make them gay. You literally just like copy and paste the female MC root dialogue in there and just change some pronouns and you got it, baby. You know, there we go. That way you're knocking off another complaint people have with Atlas games. It's like, it's a role-playing game and that you can date people. You can talk to this creepy student about how much he wants to fuck his teacher, but you can't date boys. Yeah, add the social links and female MC and just make both protagonists bi. You have a winner. You know why? That's role-playing, baby. I'm excited, but I'm disappointed that I feel like they were so scared to change things that they're just kind of fucking up a very immaculate opportunity to make Persona 3 really stand out and really kind of satisfy the fandom in several ways, making a definitive full content Persona 3, making it really pretty, giving people a playable female protagonist but glowed up. This content exists already. It doesn't have to come out of thin air. All you had to do was combo them. And they're not doing that. It could have checked so many fucking boxes of fan demand in one swoop, and they're not doing it. And that's what I'm like, come on, guys. All right, the way we thought about dungeon exploration was different in Persona 3 compared to now. Tartarus is randomly generated levels of this massive tower that you gradually have to climb throughout the entire game. Tartarus has different sections of levels with like different aesthetics, but functionally, it's the same. You go to a level, you run around, kill shadows, find the stairs, reach the progress gate, and then you have to wait until the full moon, defeat the boss, the progress gate opens, and you keep climbing. So for example, we couldn't create a fixed dungeon like in Persona 5 with its various gimmicks by reducing the number of floors. So while staying faithful to the original, we created a dungeon which can be enjoyed without getting bored by adding numerous small elements. So one example is conversations between allies. At regular intervals, there's unique dialogue that can only be heard in the dungeon. Additionally, objects can be destroyed and background movements have been added. These minor interactive elements and visual changes may seem insignificant, but they greatly make the gameplay feel more engaging and prevent it from becoming tedious. So they added some extra zhuzh in Tartarus. Shit to break, things to look at, dialogue to listen to. Nothing mechanical, though. Originally, I was hoping that they could maybe add something a little more interesting to Tartarus to kind of like jazz it up and make it a little less repetitive. Thanks, I guess. We were able to faithfully adapt Tartarus into a 3-dimensional widescreen format while capturing the essence of the original, but with a lot of variety. It is quite hard to convey with screenshots. With the use of various lighting effects, the visuals can create an immersive experience, preventing it from being monotonous. It's like, look at the pretty colors, yay! The battle system. The player can give direct commands to the party members, right? Also, has the AI been improved to this day? The player can give direct controls, yay! Thanks. which has been the standard since Persona 4. There's also the option where players can set general directions and let the party members fight automatically. So please think of it as a part of the gameplay style Persona series known today. So Persona 3 will play similar to Persona 5. They haven't mentioned anything about a baton pass or any type of like gameplay benefits through the social links, but at the very least, direct control. If anything, I want them to add more story scenarios and hangout sessions with the main cast outside of Tartarus. Day-to-day monotony of Persona 3. There's a lot of dead time in P3 where not a lot of shit happens story-wise, and I was hoping they could take the time to interject some more party member events. And it sounds like at the very least they're adding some of that to fill in the gaps for the lack of social links for some of the men. It's like, it looks good. It looks very remakey. I don't doubt it will be fun, but for me, they are missing every opportunity to take advantage of the remake route. And they're changing things anyway, but they're not changing things in the places that would really make a difference. Yeah, no fatigue system, party AI control, new social hangout scenarios, no social link though. And it's like, why not? It was right there. We could have had it all, guys. We could have had it all. That's the thing. Like, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it. I'm excited for it. I'm just like longing. I criticize it because I care. Atlas is very good at what they do when it comes to like making fun video games, but they do have this habit of like monkey paw wishes coming true. And they make these incredibly bizarre choices that just shoot themselves in the foot. It's like the obvious choice is right there, and yet they just they swerve around it. It was like how clueless they were as to how popular Persona 4 was. Sega was the one that was like really pushing Atlas to starting to port stuff, their parent company. For the longest time, like Persona 4 Golden was just trapped on the Vita. They had this push to release it on Steam, and Atlas literally came out and was like, we didn't know Persona 4 Golden would sell that well because it sold 1 million copies on Steam. Fans have been begging for this for a long time, and Atlas literally comes out with like surprise Pikachu face. People want to buy our games. Like, yes! Oh my god! They know how to make something really fun and really good, but they seem kind of clueless as it comes to like pleasing their fan base. This strikes me as people who want to do justice to the original and are completely oblivious to what people would like to see from this. They heard the response to Persona 5 and they're like, all right, we'll do what we can to make it a little more like Persona 5, and that's it. Please give us a message or anticipator or fan of Persona series. Firstly, I would like to say thank you for waiting. It's a special project for us, and we have finally been able to realize this remake because of everyone continuing to voice their support. We will continue to deliver information to the lead up to release, so I hope the original players will be able to see what has changed and what hasn't, and those who have heard of Persona 3 before can follow along and see if it's a new game made from scratch. With this announcement, I think we'll be able to show what Persona 3 would look like if P Studio made it today. Every time we complete a game as developers, we feel somewhat uneasy, thinking maybe we could have done this better, or will everyone like this? We often approach a release with this sort of atmosphere. With Persona 3 Reload, all of the staff have been able to reach the final stage of development with the feeling that a good product has been made, which is rare. I think that this is the title that we can release with a lot of confidence. Please wait a little longer. We also are looking forward to the day that we can share this excitement not only in Japan, but around the world on a global release. Thanks! So they seem happy, they seem confident with it. So I guess, like, what's the read, fellas? How are we feeling? Are you hyped? Are you mixed? Are you not planning on buying it anyway? Hella mixed. Just disappointed. Lack of female MC has me real bummed. I'm interested, but definitely gonna wait after release to see what happens before I buy. I don't know how accurate this full moon dates thing is, but we'll hopefully be gradually be getting more information up until release, and probably a ton of information Atlas didn't mean to get out because the fucking boat is leaking. They took a fucking cheese grater to the bottom of the boat, and they're just like, all right,